New reports MAGA Congressman Matt Gaetz explored retiring from Congress on the very day that the federal sex crime probe involving him first broke in the news. This is a total contrast from his recent public posture, vowing not to resign and to run for re-election in the wake of a probe that already convicted his longtime ally.
Well, I think that there's a lot going on in Florida. My focus is on what's going on here in Washington.
Are you concerned you'll be indicted?
No.
Gaetz has also been raising money for re-election, but new reports suggest this may actually be his plan B, because he approached far-right TV network Newsmax for a job, Axios reporting he was rejected. Now, the timing is especially striking because news first broke about the sex crimes probe back on March 3rd. Now, when reporters are working on stories, especially really big ones, they virtually always check with the key subjects in the story before publication. You do that to get information. Sometimes you get a comment or even a denial, and you include that in the final story. That means that subjects have a pretty good idea when a story about them is about to break. That's usually the case. And keep that in mind, because it was just hours before this story broke on March 30th that Gaetz began floating the idea of retiring from Congress altogether, pursuing a job at Newsmax. That's according to 3 sources who spoke to Axios. Now, for someone like Gaetz, conservative media was already part of his job. He rode his antics and a constant loyalty to Trump to already basically compete with a lot of analysts at Newsmax and Fox for most appearances.
I believe Matt Gaetz before I believe the FBI.
We need Newsmax in the halls of Congress.
Man, I've been trying to get you on for a long time. I'm glad you're here.
And I'm glad that viewers on Newsmax actually get the truth.
You've been on the show a bunch of times.
Most politicians would not do this. They may bow down. You're not.
Congressman, always good to see you. Welcome back.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, a hero during the impeachment hearings and beyond.
Newsmax has talk that is the truth and has breaking news. Both of those things can be very threatening to folks in Congress.
A hero. Well, who wouldn't want to work with a hero? While Newsmax was evidently willing to have him on air repeatedly for programming, they say publicly that does not mean they plan to actually work with him, working together daily. And they're not being very subtle about this rejection right now, publicly confirming, quote, Newsmax has had no plans to hire Representative Gaetz. The outlet, which often criticizes traditional news, made a point of confirming that one to the traditional news wire service, Reuters. Now, Gaetz has not been charged with a crime. And Newsmax, as you just saw, has often been taking his side in public. They just apparently don't want to be on his side at work in the days to come. Newsmax clearly following some wisdom from Dolly Parton, who said, "You're known by the company you keep. You say you're doing nothing wrong. I don't believe you are. I'm only trying to help you, sis, before you go too far." And as Dolly's refrain goes in that song, and as Newsmax might be trying to toe the line with Mr. Gaetz, she also said, quote, "I'm not accusing you of anything, but you're known by the company you keep." And that brings us to a contemporary version of the same classic warning. A$AP Rocky telling everyone, bad company's bad for your company. And Newsmax is a company, a corporation that apparently doesn't want company, in the terms of this employee, like Matt Gaetz.